Farmer George Hugh needs your help. He needs my help. He's asked for my help, and I'm helping him. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm not sure exactly how to help him best at this point because of the nature of the proceedings that are taking place with Farmer George. There's a difference between criminal charges and civil charges. Civil charges are charges that are balanced out with what, like a fine. You know, there's no real crime unless you don't pay the fine, and then you accrue some sort of additional charges because of your dishonorability. So George is dealing now with a criminal. This isn't a criminal court, okay? This is a criminal court case proceeding that's taking place with regards to George and an incident that happened, I believe, the 25th of April in the late evening, if not early morning, where he and his wife got into a bit of an argument. They've been married for 37 years. They have 8 children. George has put all this out in the public already, so this is nothing new that you couldn't read from the transcripts if you were to have an interest in the case and order the transcripts and or go look at them online, okay? So there's a lot of information that you're going to have to look into if you have an interest. And this is where I'm torn as Max Radico working for Grasshopper Media. What do I tell the public in order to get the help that George needs, okay? Now, what actually took place, of course, now is going to be put on trial, okay? George has not entered a plea. The judge has entered a not guilty plea for him. He is very, very open that he wants to face his accuser. He accepts the charges. He does not plead guilty to the charges. He's not going to plead in the court because he's not going to use the last name that he believes, as I'm not sure where in the Bible it says, but he believes that if he swears by the name that they've created for him, then he will be doubly the servant of Satan or something like that. Okay, anyway, so there's a religious context to it, okay? And even if he were to believe that, the purple people eater there or whatever is, or the spaghetti monster or whatever is after everybody, it's still, if he can justify it as a religion, and then that's his religious beliefs. So his beliefs are being put on the line right now by the railroading that he's getting through the system, because he's asking them straight up questions and that are being answered with silence and then court proceedings. You know, like, oh, Your Honor, we put forward a motion to say that George Hugh can represent the Mr. of the last name, which is exactly what George is saying he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to represent the last name and go into commerce today with regards to the charges associated with the crime or whatever it be in a de facto court. He's saying that all the courts are de facto. The transcripts on this are priceless. I'm going to do my best to organize some sort of a replay where we might reenact everything that's being said so far, and you'll see that it's really quite extraordinary what George is doing right now in the courts. It is tragic that it is on a level that has to do with his family. All I know for sure is that George has said to put the word out. Please do your research. If you have any interest in this case and you may want to, not necessarily help. It's not about help. It's about the public having interest in everything. We have an interest in everything. And if we don't, then the only thing necessary for evil to succeed is that good men do nothing. And women. There are a lot of good men and women out there doing a lot of good things right now with paperwork. Nonviolent revolution. We're making changes to the system so that the system cannot work against us anymore. The system needs to work for us, not against us. regardless of whether we go into court and we argue things, or we misrepresent, or we make a mistake and we use the wrong legal term, when we don't even realize what's really going on here. And the moment that we hire a lawyer, we go into jurisdiction and that's it. You know, you might as well throw yourself in jail if you hire a lawyer. There's nothing, you know, you're going to be doing plea bargaining and all the different things, and you're going to be, what are you pleading? You don't have to plead. You don't have to plead anything. You call it into a private proceedings, and then you negotiate what happened, okay? You killed somebody's sister, okay? And they are accusing you of killing their sister. If you are innocent, then you didn't kill their sister. If you are guilty, then you did kill their sister. Now, if they are bringing you to a court, to a criminal court, and they ask, you know, did you kill my sister? And you say, I cannot plead guilty, and I cannot plead not guilty because I am neither. If it was out of self-defense or perhaps out of necessity, would that then be a necessity plea, which I have heard judges say doesn't exist? A plea of necessity, which does exist. So there's a lot of research to do, and I can't tell you where to start, okay? I get a lot of questions like, where do I start? Oh, tell me where to find the trust and all that sort of stuff. And I don't want to sound like everybody else who's involved in this sovereignty slash creditor slash free space man society kind of thinking, not free man on the land society, which for some reason through this court case we have found out that the free man on the land society has been deemed criminal, okay? So if you're affiliated with the free man on the land society, you are under investigation now, more than likely, or your name is at least on a list, whatever that may mean. Whatever it doesn't mean anything, because you know what, we're all good people, and as long as you're not doing anything to hurt anybody, then you can't defame anything. I heard this from the Masonry once, okay, from somebody. No one brother can speak for all of Masonry. No one man can speak for all of Masonry. And that makes sense. Why? Because they're a corporation. So no one man can ever speak for a corporation. And no one man can speak for your corporation except for you and God. And right now we have the courts that are stepping in and speaking for your person. So you get no negotiating power. You get no, you are guilty, and not even until proven innocent. You're just guilty, period. You're guilty all the time. Guilty, 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 guilty. Why? Because they've produced the Bible all over the planet, and they've got us all thinking that we're part of governments when it's actually a big fucking religion bullshit thing where they're registering all of us and taking charge of all of the trust of every single thing. Like if a tree grows and bears fruit, the person who owns the tree owns the fruit. If someone owns you, so Grasshopper Media is a corporation, okay? It's not registered with anything, anywhere, on any international or national or federal, municipal or provincial, anything. It's not registered anywhere except in your mind or my mind or on this video. I don't care where it's registered. But Grasshopper Media is what I do. I happen to travel around as much as I can. And unfortunately, right now I'm at a down point, okay? Because George is in jail. And he's been in there for 3.5 weeks. And I just saw him on his 4th appearance. And I'm telling you, man, he's hurting. They are not treating him well. He's writing that he needs spring water. He needs to feel good again, not this fluoride stuff. He needs all these different things. And to see a man who I met 6 months ago and speaks with such conviction and such utter care and camaraderie and affection for the rest of humankind, because he believes that should there be any type of a threat at our doorstep, even should he be run over by a steamroller for doing it, he will expose everything that he possibly can so that people will have some answers or at least know where to start questioning. So Farmer George is a very good friend of mine, and I'm asking you to help me if you can and do a little bit of research on habeas corpus. We need to get George released from jail because they are unlawfully detaining his body. He has not given them any legal fiction. In 4 court appearances, he has not given them any jurisdiction over his flesh and blood by saying that, yes, I am the person. And they have even gone ahead without having an identifiable person, and they have entered a guilty plea for him. The judge on last Thursday entered a guilty plea for him. Now you tell me that if that's fair and if you would like that done to you. And regardless of what you might have done, especially if you've already asked to have your accuser presented so that you may beg for forgiveness and to allow the courts to do whatever they will. That's what he said. He's giving the courts jurisdiction to deal with this matter should they deal with his flesh and blood instead of the corporate fiction, because he does not want it offset with any debt. He wants justice. He wants his wife to have justice. If he happened to have hit her with a book, he wants her to have the justice that she's due. She's due that justice, that truth and justice. So whatever the court may deem fit for George to serve or to pay off, if it be 2 years in jail, he just wants his wife to be the one to do that. That's all he's asking for. And the courts are railroading him. Railroading. Choo-choo. Grasshopper Media, WeThePeoplePress.ca. Please, whatever you like. Thank you. You are free. Namaste.